Draft nerds, welcome in. Today we are looking at some more underrated prospects. Some prospects that I think the draft world might be sleeping on just a little based on the consensus big board. And we've got guys ranging from 57 on the consensus big board all the way down to 117, players that I think should be valued much, much higher. We're going to continue looking at prospects in this regard throughout the remainder of the process. Have a lot of fun, right? That's what we're here to do. Have fun, talk ball. It's all draft all the time here at Rogue Football. So let's go ahead and dive into it, shall we? At 57 on the consensus big board over on NFL Mock Draft Database. So this is a big board that's based on a lot of the big sites around the draft world. And TJ Sanders, the defensive lineman out of South Carolina, defensive tackle out of South Carolina, is at 57. He's 6'4", 290 pounds. So obviously that's a little bit on the smaller side, 290 pounds, not a ton of mass on him for an interior defensive lineman, right? Most of these guys you're looking at 300, 310, 320 plus, right? But TJ Sanders, he's 6'4", 290. He came into school as a 3-star, 275 pounds coming out of high school. So he has put on a lot of weight. I think he could continue to put on weight. But he's 21 years old and he's a pressure machine. When you get offenses in situations where tight ball game, second half, and they have to throw the ball, TJ Sanders is an absolute menace. He's unbelievable. And so as a pass rusher, he's explosive off the ball, right? I think he's a 3 tech, right? 3 to 5 tech. You're not playing him at nose at 290 pounds. As a pass rusher, coming off the ball, he's incredibly explosive, and he immediately starts hitting you with these hand moves that are difficult to deal with. And I watched a lot of Missouri and South Carolina from this past weekend preparing for this, and TJ Sanders, he hit the guard with double swim moves. Hit him one way, hit him the next, got past him in a flash, and he consistently is able to win with his hands. I think he has very good length on the interior. He also has good pad level and flexibility to be able to just, get past guys. When you've got the hands, the length, you know how to use it. You're an explosive athlete with quickness and flexibility. It's really difficult for guards to deal with, especially from a pass rushing perspective. And you just see him rack up pressures week after week in these situations where you have, again, these games that South Carolina either has a lead or has teams on the ropes and they've got to throw the ball. TJ Sanders is a closer, man, and that's the type of guy you want. And there's a lot of South Carolina hype around some of their defensive linemen and defenders for the draft in general, but to me, TJ Sanders is the best of them, and I think he should be looked at, maybe late first round, early second round. I have a second round grade on him, but in this class where he's ranked for me, he's in the 20s, and that's understanding that at 290 pounds, he is going to be undersized. But part of what makes me feel so comfortable with this projection beyond the pass rushing ability, he's stout against the run. And I think part of the reason he's able to be stout, you're not asking him to take on double teams. Again, he's not going to be a nose for you. But the reason he's stout, I think, is his natural leverage, his flexibility, his length, his ability to lock out offensive linemen. He is able to keep you off of his chest with his length and his strong hands. And because he's able to do that, he can kind of control the rep against the run, and he sees the game well. So probably not going to be a dominant interior run defender, but I think someone who can easily hold up as a run defender at 3 tech. And then when it's time to kick it into high gear and get after that quarterback and create disruption in the backfield, he can do that for you. So 57 overall, that's back of the second round. I'm really looking at him more as a prospect that should come off the board in the top 32. And that's rich because this defensive line class is unbelievable. It really is. When you talk about the guys at the top, Mason Graham, Walter Nolan, Tyleek Williams, Derek Harmon, TJ Sanders. You've even got the Michigan kid as well, who is an absolute beast nose tackle. So it's going to be wild to see where these guys come off the board. I can't wait to see it because I'm a big fan of all of them. And they have different aspects to their game, but even at 290 pounds, TJ Sanders is a stud to me. Now, next up, and we're going in order from the draft board here, from the consensus big board. At number 85 on the consensus big board from NFL Mock Draft Database is cornerback Zy Alexander out of LSU. He's 6'2", 200 pounds, was not highly recruited at all. Started his career at Southeast Louisiana, transferred to LSU a couple years ago. Dude's basically been perfect all year. And we've got Murray back here causing a ruckus, but he's basically been perfect all year. They play a lot of off-man, off-zone coverage at LSU. I watched him recently against Trey Harris, the Ole Miss receiver who a lot of people think is going to be a second-round lock, maybe even sneak into the back of the first round. Trey Harris is a big, physical guy with good route running, chops, great hands. Zy Alexander locked him up, and you saw Trey try to hit him on a stop and go down the field. Zy Alexander responded to it incredibly well with his quick feet and fluid hips for his size. He reads the game well. He's a really good run defender, both in his instincts and his ability to come downhill and tackle. I think he plays like a guy who has had to earn it, and he has, no doubt about it. So I love what he brings to the table. The question mark with him is like in man coverage, is he going to be able to keep up with receivers that are running 4.3, low 4.4s, like these super explosive receivers in the NFL? I'm not sure. But I do know as a zone corner, sign me up for Zy Alexander all day without question. And then, again, when it comes to man, we're going to need to see that testing. Because if he can run in the 4.4s, that's going to make him a lot of money. I think he's probably running low 4.5s, unfortunately for him, which is why you're probably going to view him as more of a zone corner. But with his length, his run game skills, and his ability to lock it down in zone coverage, and I don't think he's going to struggle at all with some of the bigger receivers in the league, unless it's like you're talking about Brian Thomas Jr., his former teammate, who's 6'3", 210 pounds, and also runs a 4.3. Like, yeah, that could be problems. But Zy Alexander against guys that are running mid 4.4s to 4.5s, the big bodied receivers in the league, I don't think he's going to have any trouble with them in man coverage. But in zone, I think that he's going to be fantastic. And let's be real, most of the league is running zone. And Zy Alexander, his ability to lock you down early in the route in man coverage, it's going to be difficult for quarterbacks to get to their receivers. It's going to be difficult for those receivers to create early separation, right? So I like Zy Alexander a lot. Again, I can't wait to see how he tests, but I think that he is a player that's certainly going to end up going down as much better than number 85 overall prospect in this class. Number 90 overall, right tackle, Marcus Embo, 6'5", 305 pounds, out of Purdue. Former 3-star. He's 21 years old. His stats in terms of like the pressures he's allowed, they're not the most impressive. Like if you looked at the stat line, you would say, why are you trying to hype this guy up, huh? But his tape is truly, it's something to behold. It's wild. He is so aggressive and so athletic, and he is constantly trying different things with his hand. Like if he continues on his current trajectory at 21 years old, he could be a legitimate Pro Bowl tackle in short order. Couple years, because he's moving to the second level, hitting dudes with snatch traps. He's constantly working independent hands. He's got so many different techniques, both with his feet and his hands. It's about putting it all together more consistently. It's about harnessing that aggressiveness a little bit more consistently. But I would much rather have a guy, and I talked about this earlier, I would much rather have a guy who is aggressive and you have to rein him in a little bit, versus someone who just doesn't have that mindset. And he absolutely has a winning mindset. Marcus Embo, the way he can move, pulling, working to the second level, his pass sets, not always the cleanest, but the movement, it's incredible. And so he's at number 90 right now on the consensus board. He's top 20 for me. I think he's special. And one question I have is how how long are his arms, which can be an issue, but with his athletics and his hand usage, it might not matter. He's that good. Unbelievable talent. Marcus Embo, somebody who the more people watch him at Purdue, I think the more chatter you're going to have about him as a first round pick. At number 98, we have running back Travion Henderson. And this is a loaded running back class. Absolutely it is. But I see Travion Henderson consistently mocked behind his teammate Quinshon Judkins, and I just don't know about that. And Quinshon, he will punch you in the mouth. He absolutely will. And I think he's got good straight line explosiveness, but I don't think he has a whole lot of wiggle, a whole lot of flexibility, ankle flexion, right? But Travion Henderson's 5'10", 208 pounds. Ever since he was a freshman, I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for him to be able to enter the NFL, right? And he's averaging over 7 yards per carry this year. He is a skilled receiver at the catch point and running routes. Like, they'll put him out at receiver at times, and he'll, I mean, he can route you up. He can put on double moves on you. He's a very good pass blocker, not just in his willingness, but he will punch you in the mouth. You're an incoming blitzer, linebacker, safety, whatever it is, he can get you. Leave you with a little stinger. He is patient as a runner. He is explosive. He has contact balance, low center of gravity. Travion Henderson, to me, is he going to be like that true number one lead back? I don't know. But he is a true 3-down back that can make a difference as an outside runner and within the tackles. I think Travion Henderson's going to be an impact player for whichever team lands him. So you're talking about taking him at the end of day 2, end of the third round. To me, he's much more of a early third, second round type of guy. I think he can have that much impact and versatility for your football team and utility. Very energetic. And we do save the best for last here, in my opinion. Number 117 on the consensus big board, right tackle, Armand Meo out of Missouri. He's 6'3", 314 pounds, only 20 years old. 4-star recruit out of Lee's Summit, Missouri. Shout out to all my Lee's Summit family. Got some people out there. Allowed 7 pressures all year so far at right tackle in the SEC. 0 quarterback hits, 0 sacks. And that's impressive, right? But you pop on the tape and so 6'3", right? That's pretty short for a tackle. I think he has good length. I think being 6'3", he has really good flexibility throughout his frame. He is dense, a great athlete. He moves very well laterally. He can redirect. You try to hit him with a little bit of a hezzy, and he can follow you. He can trace you. He can track you. And then getting out in space as both a puller and somebody just working to the second, third level, he does it at an extremely high level. He has great strength at the point of attack. He can bury you in the run game at the point of attack or even downfield. I love his game. I absolutely do. And I think the sky's the limit for these 2 tackles we talked about. It's really exciting because this is a draft class in which you look at a lot of the tackles and you say, do they have to play guard? I think the athleticism from these 2, Meo and Embo, are going to allow them to play tackle at a high level in the NFL, regardless of whether or not they have great length. I can't wait to continue to see these guys play football. It's really exciting. I think Meo should also be considered somebody that probably should go in the first round. I really do. That's how excited I am about these guys. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content here, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Y'all have a good one.